now it is time for our regular health checkup. Well, most of us have seen so-called miracle cures and wellness hacks pop up in our social media feeds. I certainly have. Some are helpful, but others can be misleading or even harmful.
As part of our weekly health check, doctor and infectious diseases expert Linny Fuong is taking a closer look at some of these claims doing the rounds. Linny, welcome. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Right. You can't avoid these if you are like logging on to your social media app. You're going to get some sort of green juice. You're
Especially on his
some
algorithm.
powders. Thank you for that. Let's start with sunscreen.
Yeah.
Some people, you hear this pretty often, people say it's toxic. What's going on?
Yes, so the claim sunscreen is toxic is probably one of the most viral, biggest trending health misinformation kind of pieces of information out there. And the concern is because, like in the scientific committee, that unfortunately there's an element of truth to it. And so when there are bits of truth that can be spun into sort of big conclusions, that's where the problem is. So there are two main claims that are made. The first is that sunscreen, the chemicals within sunscreen can be absorbed into the bloodstream. And yes, anything that you apply to your skin can be absorbed to some extent. But the fact that it's nanomicrograms per mil, it means that, yes, it can be absorbed, but doesn't mean that it's necessarily harmful. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it's often been touted as a hormone disruptor.
And we're hearing this about fragrances.
Well, that's right.
As well.
Exactly, that's right. And so for sunscreen, some of the chemicals have been tested in laboratories and on animals. And essentially what they've found is that in really high doses, or if it's given orally, or if it's given in conditions that are not like how you would apply sunscreen, that it can cause effects on hormones. And so the risk, and I think the conclusions that have been drawn, is that it can cause infertility and can cause cancer. But I think if we weigh up the evidence, we think about where we are in Australia, being skin cancer capital of the world. We know that 2 in 3 Australians can be diagnosed over their lifetime with skin cancer. And we know that UV is definitely cancer causing because it causes damage to DNA. Then, we've got a regulated sunscreen product that, TGA have looked at ingredients for. We know the risks of skin cancer. So, really, we are advocating for slip, slop, slap.
And are we seeing the after photos if people are deciding to ditch the sunscreen?
Well, that's right, exactly. So people are talking about using things like that are clean, like beef tallow or tanning.
Wow.
And
like tanning lotion has no SPF.
Absolutely, exactly, that's right. And so again, we've really got to weigh up the evidence. So we know the risks of UV, we know the skin cancer risk.
So a spray tan, James, just for your reference.
You could go for a spray tan, James, if you wanted to.
I'd never heard of beef tallow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goodness me. There's all sorts of people in the world out there.
Definitely trending.
Now, ADHD and autism. We're seeing some videos with people trying to self-diagnose.
Right.
What's actually the truth here?
And so again, like millions, even billions of views of videos about self-diagnosis. And here again, what people are talking about is the fact that you can use a simple checklist. If you have difficulty concentrating, if you have sensory overstimulation, if you feel overwhelmed, then
like when I'm presenting with
you have exactly. Perhaps you have ADHD or autism. And so I guess the fact here is that, again, just because you recognise that you have various different traits does not mean that you have a diagnosis. Yes. And so I think on balance, there are good aspects to social media. Yes, people are recognising that they might have something and therefore seek medical attention. But I think on one hand, it's oversimplifying diagnoses. It unfortunately makes people think that perhaps everyday symptoms might be associated with some sort of pathology. But also, it also can delay diagnoses of more serious problems. So, obviously all of those things, brain fog, sleep disturbances, all of those can be linked to anxiety or depression on the other hand. And so it's really important that, yes, you recognise your symptoms, but also that you have that conversation with a healthcare professional if you're worried.
Because, Linny, I've seen even on websites, it pops up, do you want to test yourself for ADHD?
Well, that's right.
And you can take a questionnaire. And I decided to go down that rabbit hole. But it's always linking to a business. It's always linking to a you need life coaching or some form of monetising that.
Exactly,
right?
and that should make you suspicious.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, tell us about gut health. I have seen gut
health.
resets. Why? I don't know why there's this
Have you ever
obsession.
tried one,
apparently-
James?
No, I've never tried one. But there's this obsession with parasites as well,
Parasite
which
cleanses
feels like a new
infectious
one.
diseases, doctor.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So again, like billions of views. So the hashtag gut talk or gut health.
Yeah.
Gut talk, as in TikTok for you.
Yeah, correct. Gut talk. Like billions of views here. And so essentially what these influencers are claiming is that if you clear your microbiome with a fibre bomb, probiotic drinks, you can use herb cleansers.
Did you say a fibre bomb?
A fibre bomb?
What is that?
It's a huge load of fibre, which
How much
essentially
fibre do you need to make a fibre bomb in your gut?
a
Not
lot.
that we would do this.
A lot. And so often these are associated with ill effects, so these can cause worsening of your gut symptoms. But essentially what they're claiming is that if you use one of these gut cleansers, that you can clear your brain fog and fatigue and your lack of energy. And again, we have to be really careful here because, yes, from an infectious diseases perspective, parasites are real. So, you know, when we are worried about parasites and people having symptoms, we have appropriate tests and we can diagnose and treat. But then the other side of it, where you're using things like, you know, the fibre bombs and vice versa.
Yeah, this can cause huge. You must be seeing
there is
people.
very little evidence for this. And then people talk about cleansing your microbiome. So, you know, scientists and ID physicians like myself have been studying the microbiome for decades. And it is such a complex thing that you cannot say that if you use this one special expensive thing, that it's therefore going to clean your microbiome of all the illness and the dietary exposures and the environmental exposures, and therefore give you, you know, less brain fog. So, you know, how amazing if it could, but
How amazing
So
that would be.
let's clear it up. Should you? What's a simple rule for viewers? Should you use AI? Should you use Dr. Google? Should you listen to Gwendolyn from Mullumbimby, who was a former chiropractor and who now has a popular
Your mate.
popular Instagram account?
Gwendolyn
I
again.
mean, who should we be listening to?
well, I mean, I think as Catherine pointed out, if something is trying to sell you something that is an overnight cure or is a fix-all or going to reset your microbiome, be suspicious, especially if it's attached to some sort of monetary thing.
Yes.
Or if it's, you know, again, something that sounds completely out of this world. So I think talk to your trusted healthcare professional and follow some reasonable people.
And tune
online.
into Lenny.
Yeah.
Listen to Lenny.
It's almost like we have doctors who are trained for this for years and years for a reason.
Isn't it?
Funny that.
Okay. Lenny, we love having you on the show. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Thank you.